Welcome to this Q&A. Many assume that 3 wise men came to visit the infant Messiah in a manger. The question is, does Scripture support this conclusion? Or to the surprise of many, the answer is no. The fact is, this belief is rooted more in tradition than the Bible. So what then does the Bible say about wise men visiting the Messiah in a manger? Since it's important that we understand the context here, I'd like to read Matthew chapter 2, 1 through 11. Here's what it says in Matthew chapter 2. It says, "Now when Yahweh was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Messiah should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, art not the least among the princesses of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go, and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east, which went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. We find here in verse 2 that the wise men were not there to worship the Messiah's birth, but there to worship and honor the King of the Jews, the Messiah. So from the beginning we see that there's no connection between the wise men and the Messiah's birth. Now from verse 11 we see 2 more facts that seem to contradict the traditional Christmas story. Number 1, nowhere here does it mention 3 wise men. This notion again arose from the fact that 3 gifts were given. The reality is there could have been any number of wise men present. Number 2, and probably the most surprising, is that the Bible does not describe an infant in a manger, but a young boy in his mother's home. So from this we see that there's no support for 3 wise men, that the wise men were not there to worship the Messiah's birth, but again to honor the king, and did not visit an infant in a manger, but again a young boy in his mother's home. Now, do we know how old Yahweh was when the wise men came to visit? We find a clue in verse 16. Says here that he was, or shows here that he was likely around the age of 2. Verse 16 says, And Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and on all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. As we see here, Herod sought to kill all the children 2 years and younger. Yahweh was likely near this age when the wise men came to visit. This question is an example of why it's important that we verify what we believe against the Bible. You know, whether we realize it or not, so much of what is believed today in Alma worship is based more on tradition than on the solid truth of Scripture. Well, I pray that this word has been a blessing to you, and as always, we would encourage you to prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. Until next time, may Yahweh bless. Bye-bye.